Hi, this is Paul Pachter, CEO at Long Island Cares. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Bread. Today I am very excited to have Jessica Rosati, Dr. Jessica Rosati, our Chief Program Officer here at Long Island Cares, and we're going to be talking about all of our mobile outreach services to letting you know how Jessica and her staff put Long Island Cares on the road. Jess, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy
Sure.
to be here.
So, describe the mobile outreach services that we've developed over the last dozen years together. What do they do? Who are we serving? We have, brochures right here about our Hope for the Homeless, our mobile pantry services, our mobile breakfast food truck for kids. What are the programs about? What do they do?
So, as you know, back in 2009, just about, we started embarking on this mobile model by putting Long Island Cares on wheels and bringing out the units to various Long Island communities that may or may not know where to go to get food. But as the regional food bank, we want to make sure that not only are we giving you food, but we're really assessing why you're hungry. And I think that was the basis of what the majority of our direct mobile programs were about. Right now there's about 9 that we operate. I'll run through them briefly. The mobile pantry was a program that I inherited when I came on, and not traditionally from the food banking model, we decided to take our mobile pantry and tailor it to people who are homebound. So if you're homebound and you're shut in and you're not able to get to your local pantry, well, let's go ahead and give you access to nutritious foods to keep you independent in the home. As long as you're able to cook, we're going to make sure that you have access to food to prepare for yourself. Keep that independence in the home. So right now the program serves about 80 people bi-weekly. And gives them about a week's supply of food. So it's a great supplement to their other food needs. I think what makes that program tremendously unique is that it's completely supported by volunteers.
By our volunteers here at Long Island Cares.
The volunteers are the success of our programs.
That's amazing.
Without them, we couldn't do the magnitude of what we do. And the volunteers now with the mobile pantry call our participants, pack the food, deliver the food, and over the years have really nurtured this great relationship. The program, when we designed it, we made a very conscious effort to make sure that we would not hold a waiting list. We didn't want to be like other senior services that due to funding cuts couldn't meet the demand. We made sure that if the participant increased, then we put in more trucks to make sure that the food was getting out. So that program's been beautiful to see, and it's been sustained over the years.
And every other week, 80 individuals who live in either their own homes or apartments are getting groceries delivered to them by our volunteers. How do they know what food or what products are available to them? They order the food, correct?
They do. So we have 2 really fantastic nutritionists on site that have given us a guideline as to how much food to provide for a week's supply based on their family size to ensure that what we do provide is nutritionally balanced. So each week we take an inventory of what we have here at the food bank. We contact our participant, inform them of what we have, and then they can pick and choose the items that they'd like. It's then packed up and delivered to their home. That program, again, self-sufficient now, and a year later, we embarked on the Mobile Outreach Resource Enterprises, which is a converted Chevy van for us that has an amazing office in its cabin and then shelving for emergency food. And the idea behind the MORE was to go out to community events, be able to provide emergency food, and then that referral service, making sure, again, that we're bridging those gaps and people know where to go to sustain themselves a little bit more independently. And let's go ahead and give you food to make sure that while you're navigating that, you have access to some good foods.
And that program, if I remember correctly, the MOREs, 2 things about them. They were established during the recession.
Yes.
Because there were many people here on Long Island that were hurting, either losing their jobs or being underemployed. And then, if I may say this, in 2011, the MORE program, Mobile Outreach Resource Enterprise, was honored by Feeding America with their annual Hunger's Hope Award in 2011, which really speaks very highly of what you and your staff have been able to
Thank
do,
you.
putting Long Island Cares out on the road and providing support and food to people where they are, so that they don't have to go to the local pantry, especially if they're seniors or they're homebound or people with medical conditions or even our disabled veterans. So continue. That's 2 mobile outreach programs now.
The Moore had such great energy on the road and publicity and just maximizing the amount of people that we served,
Yeah.
that if you recall, we were approached by another donor that asked us to do it again. And administratively, we talked about, what other populations we could address and really just push that envelope and make sure that they were getting what they need, and we chose the homeless.
Right.
So our second Moore van was Hope for the Homeless, which still operates today, and to my knowledge is the only unit on Long Island that does what we do. So 3 days a week, we're out at various homeless enclaves. So we're not just talking about the sheltered homeless people that are housed from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. the next day, but people who are living in the elements,
Right.
on the streets,
Yeah.
under train trestles, on the beach, in the woods, and our very, very fantastic specialist goes out 3 days a week and provides folks with ready-to-eat foods and personal care items and anything else they need or we can acquire to give them. The homeless, as in many of the populations we serve, there's a cultural barrier that we had to really break and really help to develop. And I want to say, confidently that over the past decade, we've really done that very well, and really created a nurturing collaboration with the homeless to ultimately get them out of their situation and housed and synced with other services.
I think it's hard at times for people to accept that there are those amongst the homeless who really do choose to live in the elements, that don't want to go into an emergency shelter. And, as I read the monthly reports, I know that our staff is supporting, on average, about 400 homeless individuals every single month.
Just about, yeah.
And the uniqueness of that program is what you say, and that is we go to them, just like with the mobile pantry. We don't ask homeless people to come together in a parking lot somewhere and wait online to give them food. We go there, staff assesses their situation. You mentioned it's more than just food. There have been times that your staff has provided sleeping bags and nutritional supplements and coats and blankets. So it's a lot, and it's diverse, and you're correct in saying that when you look at the mobile outreach programs at Long Island Cares, they really do represent a shift in how food banks operate. So Hope for the Homeless, the mobile pantry, the Moore van, that's going to bring us, I think, to our children's breakfast food trucks.
Yes, but they were developed a little bit later on in our tenure together. To go back,
Good.
we have the Veterans Project.
Right,
Again,
right.
another guarded population that through the efforts of our satellite centers and community collaborations with both county veteran services, we knew that we had to create a mobile unit to enhance the support of military personnel and their families. So that van is going out regularly and participating in various community events. Just this past weekend, they were at a wellness fair out east, and I actually saw somebody who attended over the weekend. They said, how wonderful is this? Just your presence alone, made this event even more better. And I think that's what Long Island Cares represents, that safety net, that level of comfort where people feel welcomed to receive our support and really work with us to make sure that our support is maximized. And then, unfortunately, a few years after that, Superstorm Sandy hit, and we had to shift gears once again and put 2 emergency response and recovery vehicles on the road to go out to various people's homes, assess their damage, and see how, as the Regional Food Bank, we could help them. If you recall that time,
Yeah, I do.
It was a lot of work, but work that I think we should be extremely proud of in the amount of money and support we were able to provide many South Shore communities. And it's just, every program that we've ever been able to design and create has given me that feeling. The breakfast mobile food trucks launched in 2016, and if you remember your light bulb at that time, you wanted to bring grab-and-go nutritious breakfast to children in need. At that time, I think the numbers were anywhere between 80 and 90,000 children who were food insecure living on Long Island. You know, with a small demographic as ours and that number so large, we had to act. And we were very fortunate to be recipients of 2 donated box trucks that creatively...
International.
Yeah. We were able to redesign and really put these food trucks out on the road. There's 2 since 2016. So proud to say we've served over 20,000 children with emergency food. And it still goes. You know, all these programs are consistent in the community. They're on the road at least every other day of the week. And again, just educating and providing services and supports to people in need.
I think one thing that people who are tuning in to Breaking Bread really should know is all the programs that Jessica just described, the mobile pantry, the Hope for the Homeless, Veterans Outreach, the mobile breakfast food trucks for children, and the emergency response vehicles. All of these programs were able to be developed through private donations. In 2 cases, Hope for the Homeless came right after we launched the very first More Van, the Mobile Outreach Resource Enterprise, because Nature's Bounty, the corporation who's located here on Long Island, saw the story in Newsday about the mobile outreach, called us up and said, could you use another one of those vans? With the mobile breakfast food trucks, again, we launched one through the generosity of Island Federal Credit Union and Purelator International and some other folk. And 2 days later, a foundation on Long Island called and said, do you need another one of those food trucks? And every time we've been offered that kind of support, your staff has risen to the occasion to make these programs happen. And anyone that sees these breakfast trucks on the road, knows what they're all about, because they're just so colorful and, talk about the service that we're offering. So let's talk about how many people you're helping every month. And, we're going to run out of time. We have about 2 minutes. So, before we get into how many people we're helping, because we're going to have to bring you back to keep talking about these programs.
Okay.
How do people access any one of these mobile outreach programs?
Well, first and foremost, anybody in need can access the services of the Regional Food Bank. There is no criteria other than I'm in need. Ethically, we have a responsibility to serve, and that's what every one of our staff do. When we're out in community events, we look to the partnerships that we have to publicize that information. In addition, we have really great outlets ourselves that we utilize quite frequently with social media and our own publications, and making sure that people know where we are, when we're going to be there, and what you need to do to come on and receive support.
So it's basically give us a call at 631-582-FOOD. Go visit one of our satellite locations.
Absolutely.
You can find out more information. Jessica Rosati, this has been fantastic, but of course we didn't get through all the questions, so we're going to have you come back to talk about the programs.
Be my pleasure.
At length. So this is Paul Pachter, CEO at Long Island Cares. If you like what you're seeing right here on Breaking Bread, then subscribe to us. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get the show every other week when we put it up there. You can also listen to us as part of the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from. So until next time, thank you for breaking bread at Long Island Cares.